We understand that parents are very busy, and it takes a lot of intentional commitment for you to commit more time that you already do for your children, but it's worth it in the long run. And we're saying that well done for everyone who's an intentional parent, who's concerned about the future, about the growth of your children. We say well done, kids. You're doing a big job. You're doing a big job. And it's also very rewarding. Arkademy SchoolHouse is a faith-based organization, so you're going to hear us speaking on the light of biblical perspective a number of times. And just to prepare your mind, that is a faith-based organization. And most of our principles are things that we have applied as we saw them in the scriptures. Okay, so without wasting much time, we're just going to start the meeting as quick as possible. We're not going to take too much time because we have to get to do other things. So good evening once again. My name is Osazee Isonarae. I'm a co-founder, Arkademy SchoolHouse. Arkademy SchoolHouse is born out of the vision to revitalize and to probably overhaul the current system, the current educational system that we practice. At the heartbeat of our vision is the promotion of homeschooling. And when we say homeschooling in Arkademy SchoolHouse, we do not completely refer to people who do not register their children in a conventional school and just school them at home, or rather bringing school at home. We're referring to people, two categories of people. First of all, people who are primarily, concerned about or interested or motivated to train their children at home, to have their children schooled at home. And we're also talking about people who probably do not have that time to give in to train their children at home, who have enrolled their children in a school that they know will do the right thing. And beyond that, they are equally very, very involved with their children's education. They're very involved. So the little time they have at home, they use it judiciously to engage with their children. So at the heart of our vision is to lead this movement, is to promote the concept of biblical homeschooling as we have seen in the Bible, and we have seen the enormous benefits that comes from it. And beyond that, we are also making efforts to strengthen existing institutions. So our goal is not to criticize the existing system. Our goal is to complement, because people are doing what they know how best to do. So our goal is to strengthen, complement the existing system by providing trainings, helping teachers to see themselves more as parents, and not just teachers, and helping school management to see their environment and their entire school community as a mission field, as a place, a value. There's a place where they are breeding the next generation of leaders. So and at the third pillar of our vision is to promote responsible innovation or innovative residential learning facilities. We call them learning facilities and not schools or classroom because that's what they are, and we get to understand that in the community as time goes on. So when we talk about innovative residential learning facilities, we are talking about an ecosystem where children are having, maybe just 3 to 4 hours daily in classrooms, or rather in learning centers for theoretical work, and then every other part of the day is spent either in an innovation hub or in an agro-allied environment, or in art and crafts. I mean, by the way, everybody's running around with the issue of AI. It just occurred to me that while we are pursuing AI, everyone wants to do AI right now. I need to say that we're going to begin to lose several skills and several arts. And if you're wise enough to bring your children to start mastering those certain arts right now that AI will not do for us, you will be positioning your child for a very great future. Talking about, art and craft, talking about, woodworks, tiling, things that ordinarily, technology or AI is not going to do for us. There are many things that AI won't do. Anyway, that's by the way. So we have at the third arm of our vision to also promote and facilitate these residential learning centers, which at the conventional level we call boarding houses. But some of our boarding houses, even mission Christian boarding houses, have actually suffered severe damage because of one issue or the other. So this is about what Arkademy SchoolHouse is about, and that's why you will see whenever we talk about Arkademy, we talk about SchoolHouse, because we believe that the school and the home should be together. It takes the school and the home to raise children. It takes both the effort from the parents and the teachers, to bring children together, to raise children. So in our community, we asked the poll asking for which of the topics interest parents the most for this period. And this topic, interestingly, also and surprisingly to me, because there was a topic on tech, and I really want to touch on that topic on tech. How do we raise smart children in this, very disturbing generation, this AI-dominated generation where AI has taken over everything, social media challenges everything. But I'm surprised that most parents rather opted for this topic. So it's okay. So we'll deal with this topic maybe some other time. Very soon we're going to find time to talk about AI and our children, because I have a lot to speak in that regard, and why parents and teachers must be very careful and equip themselves with knowledge, adequate knowledge, to ensure that as you are introducing technology to your children, you are equally at alert and you have a measure of control to ensure that you are not using your hand to provide things that would, destroy the children. All right. So let's run with this topic. How to help your child love learning. How to help your child love learning. This is something that a lot of parents are worried about. How do we improve? How do we get our children to to see learning as not as punishment, not as compulsion, but as a necessity? At what point should a child begin to see learning as his or her responsibility? Right? In our conventional system, the learning of a child is the responsibility of a teacher. But I would like to disabuse your mind, and what we'll be talking more about in our community is how do the child see learning as his or her own responsibility, and at what age should a child become independent in loving learning and taking learning as his or her own responsibility, without pressure, without stress. And you agree with me that some of us, I personally, for me personally, when I was growing up, I went through learning, I went through educational system, I went through my primary, secondary school, somehow coarsely, some pressures, some through difficult challenges, stress. We saw, school and the education as a very frightening thing when I was growing up, apart from the playful aspect of it. But when it comes to academics, there's this fear that grips your heart. And that led us to cramming. And that cramming system is something many parents are not very happy about. It's something that's not really practically helped our society. And so how do we begin to engage children to learn through through understanding concepts rather than memorizing and cramming, right? Okay, so we would be looking at several many reasons, maybe about 4 of them, why many children stop love learning. There are common mistakes that we see in our conventional system, and I think with the attempt of helping children, but unknowingly to us, we're killing their natural curiosity, and we're killing, that point in them that really helps them to become independent in life. The first thing is that there's too much focus on exams. So as a parent, can you remove the fright of exams away from your house, right? Can you find some ways to stop putting that pressure of exams upon your children? So children taught to pass tests, not understanding ideas, and at the end of the day, what we see our children doing is pure memorization. And when our children get involved with memorization, it kills creativity and curiosity, because curiosity is the strength for creativity. So whatever the school does, for those of you who are not homeschoolers, 100% homeschoolers, and you have a child in a school or two, try to reduce the fright on exams. Our society is not helpful with the way exams, make children, really get scared. I'm doing a research. I'm trying to find out what make many children fail an exam. Is it really the questions that were very difficult, or it was the fright of the exam, or it was tension itself? And I believe the answer will be very, very obvious, right? Okay. Lack of curiosity-based learning. That's the second point. Most times, if you spend a lot of time with children, you know that children are very good at questioning. They love to ask a lot of questions. Children could ask a simple question like, why is the sky blue? And if your response is, Mission, no, come on, keep quiet there. As if you're asking too many questions. The thing we ask you to do, you have not done it. You are gradually killing that curiosity that is in that child. You are creating fear in that child. There's a way you can create an atmosphere of playful learning, right? Because the child is curious. You wouldn't know what you would have helped that child to do if you engage. You could even throw a question back to the child. Why is the sky blue? Maybe your response could be, why is the sky not blue? Right? So you're engaging the brain of the child, right? Another thing is that learning feels like punishment, in certain environments. Go and read your book, Joe. And there's this long hours of forced reading. You see, when your children begin to associate learning with stress, you have a problem. If they don't see learning as part of the hobby, if they don't see learning as playing, as just playing their favorite play, whatever they like to do, like to skip, they like to jump, they like to run. If they don't see learning like that, and they see learning like something that is associated with stress, is associated with difficulty, is associated, you are passing the wrong language. You are making them see it as a punishment. And sometimes something inside of them keep asking, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do this? So never allow learning don't let your children see learning as punishment. Unfortunately, there are parents who even decide to use reading of your book as a punishment. Say, oh, we need to punish him. Go and lock yourself in the room and go and take that book. Until you finish that book, don't come out in that room. So you already painting learning as one of the tools for punishment. Now, you are already speaking a wrong language in your house. Those children, or that child, is likely going to start developing hatred for learning. It's likely going to stop reading. It's going to go. It's seeing reading now, right, more as a punishment. So if I do something wrong, then I have to take my book for a long time. So you need to avoid that at home as well. And finally, too much screen entertainment. For example, if you have the capacity, because intentionality in our society, and especially 100% homeschooling in our society, is a very bold step. It's a very bold step. Like, I can tell you this over and over again, a very bold step, because the way our society is structured, it's not structured to support our growing children. I can say that to you. Our media houses, our television stadium, our television station, DSTV, whatever you call them, Star Times, our screens, our social media, YouTube, it's not so built, not so much concentration is given, or consideration is given to the holistic growth of our children. And so God depends on you to pay critical attention on the growth of your child. So if you have that bold step, and if you can, like I do in my house, no television. That's a very hard one. No television. Now, these things are sacrifices. It's for a period of time, especially when you have growing children in their early grades, say grade 1 to K-12 grade 1 to grade 12, or primary 1 to SS2, SS3, thereabout, which is really that formative stage of a child. So if you are not going to be able to, manage and control your televisions, your media devices effectively, then you should avoid those screens. You should reduce drastically those screen entertainment. Phones, games, they bring instant excitement, but effective learning requires consistent effort. And without guidance, children prefer those passive entertainment. They're very passive. And what I do in my house is that I try to create a scenario where children could, you could create those entertainments by hand doing. Rather than sitting down and passively looking at the screen, watching a cartoon on the screen, you are not doing anything. You're just enjoying that short, instant excitement, entertainment. I would rather prefer anything that you would do that is very entertaining, but it involves you thinking, it involves you playing, it involves you using your hand to you're involved intellectually, mentally with that entertainment. So if you think about anything like that, that's amazing. So instead of watching screen, maybe some softwares that engages them to do something, and then they get something and challenges them, than to just sit and watch cartoon. Try as much as possible to reduce cartoon as much as possible. Cartoon for many parents has become a shortcut. It has become the very easy way out to stop their nagging, their shouting, their screaming, their disturbances, and all that. Don't go that route, because when they get used to those screens, what it does is that it reduces their productivity in a way that it's so fast and it's so dangerous. All right. So these are some of the things that that discourages children, that made them stop learning and loving, learning and taking learning as their personal responsibility. Again, because children are wired, in a certain way. The way God has made children, right, and the way they learn, it's very different from the way an adult learns. Take, for example, children learn first of all by curiosity. They want to explore and discover new things, so allow them. When we were growing up, you remember that when we were growing up, we had times where we would go outside of our house. I don't know how many of you played with mud. We would use mud to form, many things. Now, those were very, very amazing times that, many of our children don't enjoy today, but we have to create alternatives for them. Let them test their curiosity. Let them explore. You have some things in your kitchen, some things that they can play with. Always get them to do something with their hand, and as they are playing with it, they're exploring. They're definitely going to be discovering new things. That's how creativity grows. That's how innovation comes in children, and that's how their brain gets developed, again and again. So, sorry, someone is trying to call my attention. All right. Now, observation, very important. They copy what parents do and learn from examples. Now, this is very, very critical. You cannot give what you don't have. So, mind you, it is very important for you to lead by example, because everything you say with your mouth, they hear. But what they hear louder and clearer is what they see you do. So There are a lot of sacrifices that parents must make to ensure that their children love learning and they learn correctly. You cannot entrust the morals, the development and the growth of your child solely to the school and the church. All right? No magic will happen. The house have over 70 to 80% influence on the child. And children learn very, very fast by observation. My last child is 4-year-old. There are many things he does and he says that it's just clear that it's as he sees me do these things, it's as he sees his mother, as he sees his uncles and aunties in the house, does these things. He learns them so fast. So they copy what parents do and learn from their examples. So you've got to be very careful. And this is a very big sacrifice. In my house, I fight people who use vulgar languages. I fight people who don't communicate effectively. I fight people who don't speak, appropriately. I fight people who behave in ways that are, very scary, that are not convenient for a child to grow. So that is very important. And we must pay close attention to that. The next thing is conversation. I've said that before. Children love to learn by asking questions and discussing ideas. As a matter of fact, if you can spend about 5 to 10 minutes daily to engage your child. I know we're very busy, but this is part of the commitment for every parent who you're determined and you're intentional. If you're able to, you can start with 5 minutes, but be consistent. I can assure you that your child is going to remind you. Your child is going to be looking at time. If you can give your child that time, say every 8 to 8:10, every day, we're going to have a discussion around something. Your child is going to be so excited, ready to ask questions, and that's going to be the most exciting part of their life every day. If they can have that time to converse with you, and you can bring it to a level where you're not conversing with your child as if it's your mate, as if it's your level. I've enjoyed that a lot. I've seen that a lot. They can reason. There's a way you can engage them in conversation. You'll be amazed at the question they're asking you. So they learn very fast via conversation as well. And then hands-on activities, I've spoken about that before. They remember what they experience and do themselves if you give them the opportunity to do. Okay? All right. Let me go straight to the 5 powerful ways I feel that we can really help our children. 1, create a reading culture at home. That's very important. Turn everyday life into a learning. Now, this is for people who are homeschooling 100%. And for those of you who are not homeschooling 100%, it's something that I think you could still practice. So pay close attention to those 5 ways. They are very strategic. They are very powerful. And you come tell us thank you later. Now, create a reading culture at home. Turn everyday life into a learning. Encourage questions, reduce fear of mistakes. That's very important. And limit passive screen time. Now, let's take them one after the other. How do you create a reading culture at home? Now, I know parents spend a lot of money for school fees, for books, and all of that. But this is very important. Most successful learners are strong readers. And a child who reads widely learns everything very fast. So if you could encourage a reading culture at home and make sure that it's something that is done consistently. Whatever is not done consistently. In my house, it's now religious. I do these things religiously. You can plan a timetable around it. You must read. You have to read. And you have to love reading. And some of the tips that you can, help us as Nigerian parents, keep storybooks at home. You can recommend people. You can get a lot of fun books at, to stock your house with. Yesterday, I was with my twin girls. We have a culture of reading 8 to 10 every day. So I realized that when it's 8 in my house, I'm sure they're reading somewhere now. Once it's 8 in my house, everybody have to read. Whether you're an adult, you're a mother, you're a father, you're a child. It's just a reading time, 8 to 10. What that means is that that's the last thing they do while sleep before they go to bed. So some of them go to sleep, at about 9:30. But that's a reading culture. So from 8, if anybody is disturbing my house, you hear me shouting, that's the library hour in my house. Okay? So keep storybooks at home. Keep a shelf at home. You could you have to keep a budget. You have to keep a budget for your, if you are intentional, if you're an intentional parent, you have to keep a budget for your child's learning beyond your school fees, beyond, buying books, uniforms, and all that. Making your home learning friendly is very important. Okay, so keep storybooks at home. Buy as much as possible you can wherever you go to. Buy used storybooks. You go look for where they are selling used storybooks. Some of them are very cheap. Buy as much as you can, and keep at home. Keep a shelf at home. Let your children understand how to keep their books in those shelves. Like the picture I'm showing you right now. If you can get a carpenter to make something small, somewhere in your house that your dining room can be used, but you can curate, and design certain places that that whoever goes or sits in that place to want to study for whatever it's a quiet time. Nobody should disturb, within that corner. Sometimes too, in helping you to create a reading culture at home, you can tell your children to read aloud, all right? Or you can read aloud with your children, even with your younger children. You read and ask them to read with you, whatever time you have marked for that reading culture. And allow children to choose books that they enjoy, okay? Don't frighten them with mathematics, science. I will touch on that a bit, especially mathematics. Some of us grew up not loving mathematics. And I personally decided that everyone I'm going to teach mathematics, including my children, I'm going to find a way to ensure that mathematics becomes their subject. And it's taught in such, because mathematics is life. So it's very important. A lot of troubles we had with mathematics is because of the teacher, the approach and the strategy with which the teacher used. And the society paints it in such a way that it's a very difficult terrain. All right. When those fears and those frightenings, come around a particular subject, naturally children start getting scared, and then they just copy themselves, say, oh, I hate mathematics. Oh, I hate mathematics. So, but in developing a very effective reading culture at home, allow your children choose the books they want to enjoy. Don't force them. If they love storybook, allow them read them. This is not an academic hour. This is just you promoting a reading culture, at home. It's very important. Number two, the second strategy I like to share is that you need to learn to turn your everyday life into learning. Everything around you at home, let's be very conscious of the presence of your children at home. Be conscious of what they say to you, the questions they bring to you. Be conscious of the little time you have to spend with them while moving around, while sweeping, while eating together, to turn every of those experiences into learning. Starting from kitchen, for example, counting ingredients, measuring cups, fractions in recipes. While cooking in kitchen, don't drive them out. Explain to them, test their curiosity, test their analytical skills, test their mathematical skills. Find something to ask them, engage them, and make your entire house a learning environment. While shopping, you took your child to shop. You can tell your child while you're shopping, you're picking the items, tell your child to calculate. You can tell your child, can you calculate the price on price tag items, so I'll be sure that the cashiers, they didn't give us a wrong price tag to pay and all that. And then, can you verify this? And your child is able to quickly put the mathematics together and say, oh, yeah. Compare the price and all of that, and compare it with your budget and all of that. Engage them with everything around them. What about nature science? Plants, rain, animals, observing the natural world and everything around them. When the rain is falling, when the sunshine and all of them. My children ask me questions about our inverter, about our solar systems, our energy, power. They ask all kinds of questions. So it's important that you find all of these as an opportunity. Let me share a very quick testimony. Some of these things I'm talking about were a very huge problem to me when we just get married. And I made up my mind I was going to convert my challenges and my problems to my strengths. So I know that a lot of parents still struggle with this. They struggle with spending time with children. And that's why you see most schools, children could stay in school from 7 a.m., they close 3 or 4, and the parents say, please just keep them, we'll come and pick them by the time. We don't want them to disturb me in my office. And then the children stay there until about 7 p.m. They are paying whatever fees you just want, we will pay. And then they go pick their children at 7. They're all tired, they sleep. 7 a.m. the following morning, they are leaving again. They are going, to school. So I realized that you could convert these challenges to strength. And it's very, very rewarding. It's rewarding not just in helping your children to get better, get a better future. It's rewarding because you are learning, you are equally learning, you are impacting yourself as well. So this second strategy is important. Turn everyday life into learning. Very, very important. Strategy 3 and 4, I quickly match them together because of our time. Encourage questions and reduce fear. I spoke about this before now. So I said, instead of shutting questions down, ask children back. When they ask you a question, calibrate that question, reformat the question, and throw it back at them, right? What do you think about it? So, the child is asking you, I kept wondering, Mommy, why do we always have to buy petrol in the car? Why does the petrol have to finish in the car? Throw a question back at them. Why do you think that happens? Could you think of something else that could have happened if not that? Maybe, is there any other alternative that we could do? Ask them back those questions, and hear what they say. Some of those children, they are embodiment of innovations that you can't imagine. And of course, it builds critical thinking for them. It builds confidence. It builds curiosity. It makes them feel like you are trusting them. You're trusting their suggestions, right? You're trusting their brain. You're trusting what they want to say, and reduce fear of mistakes. Many children stop trying because they fear failure. And this is not good at all. This is not good. Parents should emphasize effort, improvement, and learning process. I think it's important not to concentrate too much on results, but rather concentrate, much more on the process. You should rather engage the child, on how he got to where he was. Even when the child failed, refer the child. You look through the assignment, you look through the classwork, you look through some of the things that you asked the child to do and the child failed. Instead of emphasizing so much on the result, you failed again, you failed out. Why don't you look at the process? Try to ask the child, how did you get here? Oh, Daddy, I got it, or I got it right, or I got it wrong. So it's not a matter of I got it right or wrong. The question you first ask is, how do you get there? Let them engage in the process. In the process of telling you how they got there, they could even discover their mistake themselves. And that helps them. It helps their critical thinking. It helps their ability, to troubleshoot. Okay? So instead of why did you fail, you should say, what did you learn from this? What did you learn from that failure? So this is very, very important as well. Strategy 5 is to limit passive screen time. I said this earlier when we started, and I want to re-emphasize it again and again. Is the last strategy I'm talking about. You could see these two children, on my screen. And you could see that they are engaging themselves with blocks, with, molding stuff, drawing, and all of that. This is the best cartoon you could ever give to your child. This is the best cartoon. Put things around them. Let them create things. Let them innovate. If you can buy these little toy robots, put them around them. Blocks, mathematical blocks, mathematical sets, mathematical blocks. Give them balloons. Give them some liquid waters, bowls of water. Let them construct a bridge and put some coin on it and see, put a paper on the bridge, put a coin on the bridge. Design things that, that will help their curiosity and reduce, that passive screen time. Just sitting down and watching screen, watching cartoon and laughing and no. Some of them sleep off with cartoon. I really want to discourage cartooning. You should rather introduce, for those of you who have children who are above 6, 7, 8, 8 years, you should rather begin to introduce them to, creating their cartoon. Teach them Scratch, introduce them to Scratch programming. Let them use Scratch to create their own cartoon. That's what I do at my home. You want to watch a nice cartoon, create a similar cartoon, and then you watch a 20-minute cartoon. Just create a similar cartoon. Let me watch. I want to watch your cartoon. Okay. And some of you cannot do without screen at all. There are some healthy boundaries you should set. Number 1, set screen time limits. All right. Set screen time limit. Maybe when we are touching on the matter of AI safety and AI digital safety, and your child, maybe work on that webinar. I'll be touching on how to control using your mobile phone. You can, as a parent, if you have an Android phone, you can control the laptop of your child from your phone. Probably have to be talking on that a couple of weeks from now. So you can set screen time. limits, right? My children have devices, and their devices, I can turn it off from my Android phone. I can turn it off. I can restrict. Even if I give them internet, I can see what they are downloading on YouTube or not. I can actually monitor everything they do on their screen, right? So that's a very powerful. And there's some operating system that you should install. There are certain things that you should put, in those devices. We'll talk about all of that when we're talking about AI and safety for our children, digital safety for our children. Second thing to do to help you set healthy boundaries is to encourage reading before screen time. So you can use screen time if it's necessary as an incentive. Oh, you want to read, you want to watch movie? Okay, why not? Go read a novel, read like half of the novel and come explain to me what you learn, what the story about the novel is, and then you can do it 30 minutes screen time. That can become a very good motivation if you find that useful in your home. So the third thing is to replace some screen time with creative activities. I've said that before. Now, creative alternatives can do building and construction, drawing and art, puzzles and games, simple experiments. Now, amazingly, there are several applications on Play Store, on Apple Store, on downloadable even on Windows operating system that you can use to engage children, particularly in drawing and art. I realize that there are some tools that we can use to engage children, in drawing and art that are very, exciting for children to see. If you have a tablet and then you can install the tool and then you can give to the children and they can just draw rubbish and see color combinations. That is incredible alternatives to a passive screen time, right? Puzzles and games, right? Puzzles and games, Scrabble. I encourage Scrabble and chess because they help you build the brain. Monopoly is also a good game, right? And Ludo is fine, but just that Ludo is for younger children, just for counting, just to help their counting. Okay, so you must limit, if you cannot eliminate, screen time completely, you must limit it as much, as possible. So practical learning activities, you could start today. Reading time, you can do practically, you can begin to set your agenda, you can set your house rules. It can be house rules. Paste it on your walls. Let the children paste it in their room, let them see. Reading time, 20 minutes daily, read it together. All right. Kitchen science, simple experiment, floating versus sinking, baking soda reactions, right? Storytelling, let children tell the stories about their day, improves language, creativity, and confidence. Can you tell them to write about their day and communicate that to you? Let them stand, in the evening, maybe before your devotional hour, before praying for the night, let them speak to you about what they did today in a story. It's about storytelling. What is crazy about storytelling today? So they can start learning it, right from your home. And family discussion. Ask, what did you learn today? What surprised you today? Family discussion helps family ties, helps bonding a lot. I don't know how much I can emphasize that. For single parents who are amongst us, we just pray for you for more grace. But for parents who are, for those who are together, couples who are together, try to promote this family discussion a lot. There's a way family discussion with children helps to boost the relationship, the unity, the love, the peace in the home, and the bond within the husband and wife. It works like a miracle. Please encourage it as much as you can. And finally, you really do not need a professional teacher, right? Children really need encouragement, curiosity, and a supportive learning environment. And when children love learning, they pursue knowledge, even without pressure, and you will like it. You will like it. So I'd like to encourage everyone, to try to pick some of the lessons you had here today. And I'd like you to let us know how you are implementing it. If you're not part of our community, you could just, whoever recommended you to join this webinar, you could speak to the person. The person can help you join our community. We have a WhatsApp community where we share tips daily on what you can do to help children love learning in your home and make them very independent at an early stage, setting goals, helping them to grow a better future. You're invited to join our community. We have a free community for now that you can join and get all of those tips. We would like to hear from you. What part of this strategies you are implementing, and and how we could support you. So I'd like to pause here, and we're going to take some questions. We're going to take some questions. If you want to post your questions in the chat box, definitely I'm going to see them. If you're not posting, you would like to ask a question, you just raise up your hand and I'm going to identify you. And yeah, stop. Okay, so any question? If you're using the chat box, let me know if you have. Would not like to spend more than an hour. Call it out. It is at 9. You have a comment, you have a question you'd like to share, and maybe some areas not too clear to you. By the way, for those in our community, you will get the slide free of. We'll send it to you. You can always go over the slides again. But we really want to hear from you and want to know how you are implementing and what are your challenges. I'm sure some people are slept off. Busy parents. There's a mathematician in the house who's been doing. My friend from Port Harcourt, I wanted her to share something on. She does some very crazy stuff, some nice stuff to help the children learn mathematics. Okay. Jean.
Okay, so am I free to ask question or wait for the mathematician?
Please go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. I am Blessing Aguro. So I have a question. Okay, so I have a question. My question is, in terms of goal setting and all of that, even we as adults, even when we set the goals, if we really do not achieve all our goals. And for children, setting goals for them can be a little bit, I don't know how best to put it, but monitoring them, they have excuses, they have reasons why they can't even achieve it. They have lots of things going on with them. So I don't know, sometimes you can be offended. Yeah, and you remember I gave the kids some goals on reading and they didn't even achieve it. So sometimes you're offended and you're like, okay, at this point in time, I'm not going to attend to you again. Regarding this, it's over. Like, I'm not going to stress my head on you regarding this. Now, in such case, like, you just want to cancel it so that you don't beat them, you don't get too hard, you don't get too soft, you just like, so, well, I don't want anybody to stress me. Now, in such a situation, in terms of goal setting and accountability for children, what would be your best counsel, knowing fully well that the kids have been setting goals?
All right. Yes, so I think that's a very brilliant question. I see a question on chat as well. So yeah, I can relate with that question because, and it's simple. So children have preferences. They have preferences. I really wanted all my children, to be programmers at age 10. So I wanted to set goals for them from age 6. So I introduced them to coding at 6. I was frustrated with all the goals I set for them. Even with my incentives, I was frustrated. So I had to check. They were not ready for the goal I was setting for them at that time. There were other goals they were meeting. They were effortlessly meeting those goals. So take, for example, we set a goal for a child to read a book on science. And this child is getting you frustrated because you set the goal and the child sees it as punishment. That's the problem. If the child sees it, any time the child sees the thing as punishment, it makes it worse for the child. So we have to devise a means, first of all, for the child to be interested in that particular thing. All right? If you set a goal, I have a twin of 9 years, if you set a goal for these two girls, for say you're going to play the keyboard 20 minutes per day, one of them will play the keyboard for 1 hour, the other one won't play keyboard at all. Now, if you set a goal for these two children to read a book on fiction, maybe a movie book, they call it movie book. One does better than the other one. So we need to first find out what do they like and start setting goals on what they like, moving from the known to the unknown. That has been a better principle for me, and it has always worked. So I would rather look at what exactly that they like the most, and then we set a goal on that. That is still part of their learning, and we set a goal on that. So if you set a goal on a leadership book, for example, and you're getting frustrated, they are not reading it, find another book. Look for a book that is probably cartooning, a story book, a movie book that at some point in time they are reading, and it cracks them, and they go pick that book to read without stress. Now, if they successfully meet the goal of that book, later introduce that particular book that you want to set the goal for as well, you will see they're going to catch up with it. So it's systematic. It's very systematic, and it has to be flexible. You have to also be playful with it at some point, and you have to take your time to understand those areas that they truly love. I hope I answered that question. There's a question in the chat box that says, I have a 3-year-old daughter, very smart, but she loses concentration very fast. I would have loved to ask, is she your only daughter? Is she the only child in the house? If she's the only child in the house, then you have to curate, some strategies for her. But if she's not the only child, then you have to start pairing her up. What I do for concentration to ensure that they concentrate is to engage with them. So the library hour is very effective to build concentration, to help children not to lose concentration. I have a daughter who loses concentration very fast. And it's much work on you, but you just need to sit more with your daughter. And if you can do that now that she's 3, you're going to enjoy it. You won't have to struggle so much when she gets older, right? Because she would have mastered the art of concentration. So what I do, she's the only child. I can imagine. So if she's the only child for now, so I'm sure you are working class, but you have to find a way to create time for her. You have to be with her. You have to constantly and consciously spend time with her. It could just be 10 minutes per day. It could be 15 minutes per day. And you could use the library house strategy. The library house strategy is a quiet time strategy. With no noise, nobody in the house, not even daddy makes a noise. Everywhere have to be still, like a graveyard. Everywhere keep short. We're just going to read for 10, 15 minutes. Just observe that with that. And then she's going to come to you, mommy, this no. You're just going to read. It's not your time. It's not your time for discussion. I do that a lot. And gradually you see her pick up. So God grants you more grace, but you just have to spend time. And if you do that repeatedly and consistently, she will also begin to master the art of picking out some time to concentrate. That will help her concentration level. But I encourage you to start early. Now that she's 3. When she's 6, 7, 8, you enjoy. You should become more independent about it. Yeah, I hope I answered that. Also, there more questions? Thank you so much. I think some of us are very busy to try. Yeah, we're very busy here, but we just have to try. Thanks so much. All right. Okay. I think this is where we will be drawing the curtain tonight. And once again, our community is open. It's free. You can join. We'll be having another webinar coming up very soon in a couple of weeks. So you can watch out for that as well. We're going to be. I would like to touch on digital safety. I would like to touch on AI. It's something I've been working on for a couple of years now, and I would like to share insight on how we can navigate the digital world with our children, and also have a strong control on their devices where we can monitor, very, very closely. Once again, want to just say thank you for joining. For all of you who are intentional, who are very busy, thank you for your time. Thanks for joining. I want to encourage you. This is very rewarding. Train up a child in the way he should grow. You will not regret it. If he grows, he or she would not depart from it. By the grace of God, as we apply faith, as well. God bless you. God bless our children. Have a blessed night. Bye.